How we doing, guys? It's April 3rd, 2020. My name is Tyler, aka Fatty Arbuckle, aka Bare Knuckles. What's up, BB? I love your show, man. I got a clipboard and I got a pen, and I'm gonna do some fantastic things, like show you that the government doesn't give a fuck about you, that they've been robbing you, and that they're pretty much responsible for every single problem in your life and anybody's life in this country. So let's just get right to it, right? With my pen, with my pen and my whiteboard. We got 327 million people, right? Point two, if you guys want to be technical. That's the amount of people in this country. And we just signed a stimulus package that's about $2 trillion, right? And we're all getting a one time check of $1,200. So I'm going to write that down. And also, guys, I'm aware some people aren't getting the $1,200, some are getting more because they have kids and everything like that. I'm just coming up, I'm doing an explanation, guys. 327 million people times $1,200 comes out to $392.64 billion. Do you guys see the problem yet? Maybe you don't, but let me repeat. We had a $2 trillion stimulus package, right? And we're getting about $400 billion. The people are. So where's the rest of the money going? 1.6 billion is going to go to businesses, they say. And that sounds good, right? But we did that before. It was the stimulus package that Hussein Obama signed in 2009. You guys remember how that turned out? We're supposed to get green energy. We're supposed to get transportation funds, all this stuff done to the infrastructure. Nothing happened. I don't know if the money got embezzled. I don't know if the CEOs just took all the money. I couldn't tell you. But I know it was an absolute failure. And the year before that, George Bush gave the banks $700 billion. Do you guys remember why? Let's go back in time. 3.1 million people lost their homes in 2008. And the government said, wow, you guys are losing all this profit. The banks are going down. We're going to have to bail them out because they're too big to fail. However, none of those 3.1 million people got to keep their houses. So the banks were given all of their money back that they were owed. But you guys didn't get anything. Any of you guys that lost your houses. That doesn't seem fair, right? Like, if, if you were going to pay for somebody's car because it was going to get repoed, don't you think they should be able to keep the car? Of course. But they didn't. They gave the banks all the money. They let you lose your house. They let you guys go through family problems. Maybe there was a bunch of marriage. Maybe your kids couldn't go to the college that they wanted to. Maybe there were some drug addictions that were caused. Maybe some people fucking killed themselves because they lost everything. All of those things happen. You guys might know a person, every single one of you guys probably knows one person that one of those things happened to. So here, let me write down some numbers for you. You guys see this is in the billions. I'm going to write down the 700 billion. That was the bailout. That was given directly to the banks. And the government said, fuck yourself. Because you actually have to pay this money back too. Don't forget about that. You have to pay this money back in taxes because they took that money out on your behalf to give it to the banks. So, again, we're going to write the stimulus package amount, which was $831 billion total, that was given to these big businesses that didn't do jack shit for you. And we're going to add these numbers up, and we're going to divide it by an arbitrary number, which I just came up with as 100,000. How many people could you give $100,000 to out of all of this money? And before you guys get into, oh, that's not fair, you know, I'd still have to work, I still have to pay my mortgage, why would you give it to anybody? I'm doing an explanation, and I'm also trying to show you guys how this would have stimulated the economy much, much more than anything that they did. So again, I don't know if you guys can see it. Here's what we got so far. And we're going to divide that by 100,000. And if you guys don't remember third grade, 100,000's got 5 zeros in it. 5 zeros in it. We're going to take those out. And what you're left with is 15.321 million people. I don't know why I said 321. Just tired, I guess. We got 15.31 million people that could have been given $100,000. And if you guys don't know, 3.1 million people lost their house, got foreclosed on in 2008. Roughly, you could have given them $500,000 each. Most of those people, probably 3 million of the 3,100,000 people would have more than paid off their houses. They probably would have been able to give a bunch of money to their other family members that were struggling, right? Maybe they would have gone out and bought a yacht. Maybe they would have gone out and bought some Mustangs and Corvettes, and that would have stimulated the economy. Not this shit, though. This would have, again, roughly $500,000 to every person that lost their house just in 2008 alone. Now, if we go back and we look at the grand scheme of things, let's say between like 2007 and 2016, there was 7.8 million people that lost their homes. It's a lot of people, guys. A lot of fucking ruined dreams right there. Probably a bigger issue than just ruining dreams, too. And I'm sorry if you guys are one of those people. I'm very lucky I didn't have to go through that. But I'm still fucking pissed off on your behalf. Right? Now, let's say for every person that was foreclosed on, right? You did out the math now. Instead of the 3.1, how much money would you get? Guys, we're dividing 15,310,000. Oh God, tired. $1.531 trillion by the 7.8 million people, right? This is what you come up with. I got some notes on the side because I did do out this math before. Tried to make the video fluid, but again, it's real tired. I'm working right now. You could have given everybody that's house was foreclosed on $192,282 each. Now, out of that 7.8 million people, I bet you 7.5 million people would have paid off their entire mortgage with that amount of money, right? Not everybody lives in California or New York or Massachusetts or Connecticut or New Jersey where you got a $500,000 house or $1 million house. Most people don't have that. So 192,000 probably would have paid off most people's mortgages. Maybe they would have had money to spend over for those yachts that I was talking about, or those Corvettes or Mustangs, right? But I'm not done here. We just signed a $2 trillion stimulus package, right? And guys, this is less than 2 trillion. It's 1.5. So I'm going to add up these numbers. It's not very hard. You add a 2 to this 1, in case you don't know. So since I ran out of room, we're going to come over here. We got 3, 5, 3, 1, followed by 9 zeros. With this amount of money, how many people in the United States could you have given $100,000 to? Again, we're going to go back to 3rd grade. We're going to take off 5 zeros and see what we got left. I'm totally about to lose my whiteboard too. Sorry about that if I do. Well, for those of you guys that can't do the math at home, it's 35.31 million people that could have gotten it. Dang. Well, I lost this thing. So, let's look at the math, guys. Do this over one more time. 35.31 million people in the United States could have been given $100,000 each between these three stimulus packages. Now, I know there were three different stimulus packages. It wasn't all given at once. But let's just imagine it was. Say you gave 35 million Americans $100,000. And say you didn't just give it to them to spend. Say you just sent it to the bank. You said, hey, this guy's got a mortgage. Here's $100,000. If you gave it to 35.31 million people, do you think that we would have stimulated the economy? Probably, right? If people didn't have mortgages, they could go buy the yacht. They could send their kid to college without a loan, putting him in debt or her in debt, right? You could maybe give them some money to start their own business. Maybe they didn't want to go to school. But what they did was they gave it to the banks, they gave it to these people that are all too big to fail, and then we're supposed to pick up the scraps, right? We have to pay it back. Beyond that, we have to pay it back with interest. Now, for any of you guys that lost your homes, or any of you guys that still have them, any of you guys that are struggling, anybody that works, period, you guys know about interest, right? Over the course of 20 years on a mortgage, you might pay for the house twice, depending on what rate you got. That $3.5 trillion has to be paid back to a private bank called the Federal Reserve through taxation from our federal government. And it's not a 20-year term, guys. We're never going to pay that off because that money, it doesn't even exist, to be frank with you. Um, you got to look into this stuff. I don't mean to chastise you guys with the math and to be so spiteful with the way that I'm talking, but they really rely on us being stupid and lazy to not figure this out. And so I figured if I could explain that it's some middle school math, and we're really just lazy, not doing out the math ourselves and just going, wait, there's a problem here. These guys are robbing us. They're charging us interest on it. And they're making off. Their lives are fine. Your guys' lives are being ruined. So the point of this video is not to absolutely get you angry. I don't want you guys to riot in the streets. I don't want you guys to try and attack politicians or start a revolution or anything like that. But I do want you guys to acknowledge that the government doesn't care about you. They don't. So when they come up with a cure for this coronavirus and they try and give you a mandatory vaccine, I want you to second guess it. I didn't do all this math out just to make a point for the vaccine. However, Bill Gates has been talking about this ID 2020 thing. And what they want to do is they want to put an RFID chip in your arm for when they give you a vaccine. And they're not going to allow you to go back to work. They're not going to allow you to walk into a bank. They're not going to allow you to walk into a supermarket without getting your chip read that says that you got the proper vaccines to be there. And I just want you to question if you should trust the government to do that for you, to let you live your life, to let you prosper, when they're the ones that took everything from you to begin with. Now, there's a lot of information on the Federal Reserve. You guys should really, really watch this video on YouTube. It's called The American Dream. It's about 9-10 minutes long. It's or I don't know, maybe it's longer. It's like 9 or 10 years old though, and it does a really good explanation. It's like a cartoon. It's really lighthearted. It's not as angry as I might be coming off right now, but watch that. Listen to your politicians. See what they think about the Federal Reserve, because every single person that's in Congress, every single person that's in the Senate, every person that's been in the presidency since it got passed in 1913 has allowed this shit to go on. And I don't think it should go on. I think we should do some research and we should escape the system somehow. All right? Thoughts and ideas are welcome. Please don't criticize me. Just here to ladle the gravy for you guys. Hope you enjoyed this video. Y'all have a great night.